Hello everyone, welcome back to my second channel. Welcome back to Jack in the Books. Today we have got book mail. These are some packages that have arrived in the past 2 weeks with some exciting new book releases, and I thought I would show you them, run through them, and we can all get pumped together. And hopefully this will give you some inspiration of some upcoming releases or new releases that you might want to sink your teeth into. So let's crack on. Firstly, these are two for the movie lovers out there. So basically I was sent this parcel from Faber. I love Faber. And these are both movies that have a lot of award season buzz right now. So first and foremost, we have Barbie, the screenplay. How cool is that? So this is Greta's screenplay for the Barbie movie. So you can see the material that they were working with on set, and it has little descriptions that obviously like Greta Gerwig wrote for the actors that we just see on screen, but getting to actually read them is so fascinating, like such a cool insight to her mind, because Greta Gerwig is like a genius. Let's flick to a random scene. You know, I actually took this flight where the TV in front of me wasn't working, and so I sat and watched the Barbie movie over someone's shoulder, and they didn't have the subtitles on, they had headphones in, so I was just watching it with their lips moving and trying to remember like what they were saying. The Barbie movie is actually the only movie I've ever seen twice in the cinema because I went with two different groups of friends. And actually it's so iconic that I remembered so many lines from it. I genuinely think that the Barbie movie will be elevated to the same status as like Mean Girls kind of thing, where like you'd be able to see a screenshot of the movie and you would know exactly the quote that was happening at that time, you know, like the punchline. I genuinely think it's that iconic. I'm gonna say it. So this scene that we've got here, oh my god, it's the Dance the Night scene. It's when she says, "Do you ever think about dying? Literal record scratch and everything is quiet. All the Barbies and Kens look at her. She's broken the movie." Barbie Margot to herself. I don't know why I just said that. There is panic in Barbie Margot's eyes as she starts dancing, doing about 8 different dance moves from over the decades, starting with a twist, going through disco, punk, breakdancing, etc. The music picks back up and she is relieved. Although troubled by what just happened, she shakes it off and continues to party. Maybe there is nothing wrong. How cool is that? Getting to see that insight I think is so special, and I can't wait to just nerd out over this and Greta's writing. And I thought it was cool too, I saw this on TikTok actually, that obviously because of all of the actresses playing Barbie and all of the actors playing Ken, they have to specify, so they say like Ken, Ryan Gosling, Barbie, Margot, Barbie, Emma, etc. Because otherwise the script would be so confusing because everyone is just Barbie and everyone is just Ken. So that is the Barbie screenplay. I love when they release these. I have the Fleabag one as well, and I think it's so amazing. And then the other book that I have that has inspired a movie this year is Strangers, and this book actually inspired the movie All of Us Strangers with Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal. Middle-aged, jaded, and divorced, we follow a TV scriptwriter returning to a dilapidated downtown district of Tokyo where he grew up. There at the theatre, he meets a likeable man who looks exactly like his long-dead father. And so begins his ordeal as he's thrust into a reality where his parents appear to be alive at the exact age they had been when they died. So yeah, I guess this is the source material for All of Us Strangers. It's by Taichi Yamada and translated by Wayne P. Lammers. It's described as a sharp, chilling contemporary ghost story, memorably uncanny, and I feel like I want to read this book and then go and see the movie. It's only 200 pages, so it will be a relatively quick read, but I think it would be really interesting to read the source material first and then see how they adapted it. So I thought that was really cool. Thank you, Faber. The next book we have is this one. It is called Pixel Flesh: How Toxic Beauty Culture Harms Women. This is by Ellen Atlanta. To exist as a young woman today is to struggle in a sea of paradoxes. Beauty is both a blessing and a curse. This is a rallying cry from a brand new voice in nonfiction, and this comes out in May 2024. The chapters in this book are Confessional Prologue, The Cult of Kylie Jenner, Venus and the Voyeur, Algorithms of Desire, Colonizer Culture, The Power of Pretty, Build a Body, Everything is Content and Reality is a Myth, Bite the Hand That Starves You, The Fetishization of Youth, Motherhood / Otherhood, The Witches of Cyberspace, and then the conclusion is called Beyond Beauty, A New Way to See. I think this is going to be really fascinating. Also, if you're a fan of my friend Jordan's YouTube channel, Jordan Teresa, this will be so up your street. I can imagine this feels like a Jordan Teresa video essay in book form. Pixel Flesh, and I love that it's an updated kind of cultural, social analysis in the age of present day social media and what that entails. So that is Pixel Flesh. Oh, and then I was also sent some poetry collections. These were from, what's the imprint called? Fern books. So we have Papers by Violaine Schwartz. Oh, and this is translated by Christine Gutman, originally published in French. Okay. Stunning. A masterful work of poetry and storytelling, a much needed addition to the literature of displacement. Papers turned my most familiar narrative into breathtaking new art. I was utterly absorbed by the beauty and truth in these pages, says Dina Nayers. Papers is a harrowing and enlightening portrayal of the modern refugee experience. I think it's like an interesting kind of hybrid of poetry and prose. Wow, that's super experimental, okay. I guess I first flipped through this and I just assumed it was poetry, but it's kind of somewhere in between. It's kind of hard to categorize just from a first glance. I'm wondering if it will explain that here. Very experimental with the way it uses the page, I think, but it is a novel. Related without melodrama or self-pity, these stories reflect the absurdity of bureaucracy, the agony of waiting, and the courageousness of leaving everything to an uncertain future. Okay. And then this, not poetry collection at all, this novel, we have a little note inside. It's called Like a Sky Inside. It is by Jakuta Alikavazovic and is translated by Daniel Levin Becker. And this is the description. In March 2020, a young woman spends the night in the Louvre. At home, her 9-month-old son. In her overnight bag, a notebook, a toiletry kit, a duvet, a cube of nougat, and something that shouldn't be there. In her head, memories of the Venus de Milo, of land art and the American road, of romance and travel and immigration and war, and her father. She is going to attempt to steal the Mona Lisa. Okay, interesting. It's described as an insightful and heartfelt meditation on the possibilities and impossibilities of art. I think that's going to be really, really cool. I'm always up for thinking about art and its place in museums and galleries, and then, you know, I enjoy books where there's like some sort of plot, but then we also have a lot of self-reflection and introspection. I feel like that is what this book is going to contain from that description. So that sounds very, very up my street. Okay. Now, before I tell you about these next 3 books, I just wanted to let you know that today's video is very, very kindly brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for building an online brand or a website. And the best news is you don't need to be an expert web developer, you don't need to have coding experience, because Squarespace has hundreds, literally hundreds of incredible templates which you can use as a starting point and then customize. There are really useful features that you can use as well. For example, you can create a blog, there's an email sign up so you can get people on board to hear more about what's going on behind the scenes. And then there are also great analytical tools so you can see what people are engaging with the most, what they're enjoying the most, and therefore what you should make more of. If all of this sounds good, you can actually head to squarespace.com right now, right this second, and you can get a free trial. You can test it out, you can see what you like, have a little play around. And then when you're ready to launch your beautiful new website, you can use the code JACKINTHEBOOKS at squarespace.com/JACKINTHEBOOKS to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you so much to Squarespace. And this next book, actually, I was sent, and then immediately I saw that it has just been longlisted for the inaugural, the very, very first Women's Prize for Non-Fiction. So as you know, I've always been a big supporter of the Women's Prize. They have spotlighted so many books that went on to become favourite books of mine. So many amazing novels. For example, Piranesi, Hamnet, Demon Copperhead, and those are just the winners. Like, there are also great novels just from their long list and short list. For example, The Island of Missing Trees, I'm a Fan. So many books that I end up loving. And anyway, they now have a Women's Prize for Non-Fiction, which I think is really interesting because it's such a diverse range of different types of books. There are some memoirs, there are some more factual books. Obviously memoirs are factual too, I mean like more like rooted in research and science. So this one is called Doppelganger. It's a trip into the mirror world by Naomi Klein. Angela Y. Davis says, Naomi Klein never disappoints. Doppelganger swirls through the bewildering ideas of the ultra-right that often appear as a distorted mirror of left struggle and strategy. With her always incisive analysis of the systems and structures linked to global capitalism, Klein now fiercely and brutally urges that our justice movements be prepared to follow the quest for new meaning into dimensions where we might least expect to find it, in injury and vulnerability. Okay. What does this say in here? Okay, so this was sent to me by Penguin. Dear Jack, hope you find Naomi's book an interesting read. Best, Julie. Thanks, Julie. What if you woke up one morning and found you'd acquired a double, someone almost like you and yet not you at all? When Naomi Klein discovered that a woman who shared her first name but had radically different harmful views was getting chronically mistaken for her, it seemed too ridiculous to take seriously. Then, suddenly, it wasn't. She started to find herself grappling with a distorted sense of reality, becoming obsessed with reading the threats on social media, the endlessly scrolling insults from the followers of her doppelganger. Why had her shadowy other gone down such an extreme path? Why was identity, all we have to meet the world, so unstable? What an interesting concept. And you know what it reminds me of, stupidly, is the guy who had or still has the Twitter username @JohnLewis, who would receive all of the customer complaints for the department store John Lewis when he was just like some dude called John Lewis. It's kind of giving that, but on like an extreme version where this author is obviously left-wing and she is being mistaken for someone who is very, very right-wing and has gone down this kind of radical path. So how interesting. This is a book for our age and for all of us, a deadly serious dark comedy which invites us to view our reflections in the looking glass. It's for anyone who has lost hours down an internet rabbit hole, tick, who wonders why our politics have become so fatally warped, tick, and who wants a way out of our collective vertigo, tick, and back to fighting for what really matters, tick. Sign me up. They knew I would want to read this. Next, we have a book from my favourites, Charco Press. I have a whole where am I pointing? There? I have a whole collection of Charco Press books, and I sort of see, when I see their logo on a book, it's kind of like a badge of honour to me because I know they publish really interesting work. So this is The Dark Side of Skin by Jefferson Tenorio and translated by Bruna Dantas Lobato. And this is the description. How do you become the protagonist of your own life? Okay, so this is one for the main character syndrome people. Okay. For Pedro, it means searching for his murdered father in the objects he left behind. Okay. This is why I have to read the whole description before I start saying, yeah, this is for the main character girlies. It might be a bit more niche than that, in retrospect, in hindsight. Okay, so anyways, how do you become the protagonist of your own life? For Pedro, it means searching for his murdered father in the objects he left behind. An archaeology of affections. Oh, I love that. An archaeology of affections. That is nice. As he retraces his family's trajectory through the streets of Porto Alegre, I think that's how you say that, Porto Alegre, and explores Brazil's pervasive racism, violence, and bankrupt institutions, this book takes on father and sons and the inescapable bond and burdens of family and history in the delicately rendered, painfully precise account of loved ones lost and found. This is what I mean, Charco Press, they know what's up. And then finally, a book I'm so excited about. This is Your Utopia, the new story collection by Bora Chung and translated by Anton Her. Same author and translator as Cursed Bunny, which is like this genre-bending short story collection where you just have a little taste of everything, but done so masterfully. So let's see what Your Utopia is about. Okay. Bora Chung's inimitable blend of horror, absurdity, and dark humour reaches its peak in these tales of loss and discovery, dystopia and idealism, death and immortality. In a thrilling translation by the acclaimed Anton Her, readers will experience a variety of possible fates for humanity, from total demise via a disease whose only symptom is casual cannibalism. There's the Bora we know and love. There's Bora Chung, to a world in which even dreams can be monitored and used to convict people of crimes. Wow, okay. In the Centre for Immortality Research, a low-level employee runs herself ragged planning a gala for donors, only to be blamed for the chaos that ensues during the event in front of mysterious celebrity benefactors hoping to live forever. But she can't be fired. No one can. In A Song for Sleep, an AI elevator in an apartment complex develops a tender, one-sided love for an elderly resident. Seeds traverses the final frontier of capitalism's destruction of the planet, but nature always creeps back to life. If you haven't yet experienced the fruits of Chung's singular imagination, Your Utopia is waiting. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be a roller coaster. I cannot wait to read this. That is Your Utopia. This is my kind of utopia, right here, within these pages. Thank you. And that is the book mail that I have received, and I'm very excited. Thank you so much to all of the publishers for sending me these books. I cannot wait to read them. And I hope that you're feeling a little inspired too. So thank you so much for watching this video. All the best, stay in touch, have the most wonderful day. And the most exciting part is, when you see this video, I will be in Korea. And I'll be reading this Korean book in Korea. So exciting. Okay, I love you to the moon and back, and I'll catch you very, very soon. Bye-bye!